Good morning, guys. Today's a special Super Tuesday edition. Dane sends his love. He's calling a tournament today. It gives him more time to do the things that I truly love and enjoy. And today, guys, they say all the time not to meet your heroes, whether it's you're in real life or media, whatever it may be. But I've been blessed to actually track down one of my heroes, one of the funniest guys I've ever met, but also one of the kindest guys at the same time. You know him from great works. Obviously an Iron Man, comedian. Seen him in Sonic. And my favorite TV show, my favorite comedy, he was one of the stars, Max Bloom in Happy Ending. So his pedigree goes on and on about how much he's done to bring laughter to our hearts, but also very sensitive, serious guy too. Got a kind of dichotomy there. So I won't waste any time because I'm itching and I'm chomping at the bit to get into it with our friend Adam Pally. Adam, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. That was such a nice introduction. Thank you so much.
Man, I'm telling you from day one. When you guys first dropped, I know and all the things that you've done. Now passing on, your comedy genius to my kids. Now my kids are watching your shows too, and it's just
Oh my
reciprocating to a
God.
whole new generation. So I'm excited to track you down. I know you're a busy guy, so I'll respect your time. There's some questions over the years the audience has cultivated. So man, take me back before being the household name that we know and being in pretty much everything these days. You're a man that does not limit himself to one genre comedy. You've got the serious stuff. Take me back before you started acting. Maybe back in the day when you first got the itch. How old were you when you got the bug to start doing what you're doing?
Well, I don't know if I ever like caught the bug. My parents were lounge singers when I was a child in New York City. So it wasn't even about like Hollywood or anything like that. That was so far away. It was just about like being on stage and being an entertainer and making people laugh and making people sing and stuff like that. So from a young age, I was kind of like, oh, I'm sure a psychologist would say that, like, oh, that's where my parents' attention was. So I was trying to get my parents' attention. But I always liked doing it. I always really loved doing it. And then when I was in college, I went to the University of Arizona for a couple of years just to kind of like figure out what I wanted to do because I really didn't know what I wanted to do with myself. And I ended up transferring back to New York and going to the new school and learning acting and writing and stuff, and at the same time going to the Upright Citizens Brigade, where I learned how to improvise and kind of met um, everybody that I was going to work with in the future. And so I would say I don't think there's like a moment. I think it was just kind of like this is what I wanted to do since I was
Just
a
part
little
of you.
kid, and I was just kind of always trying to figure out how it kind of feels very similar to kind of what I'm doing now,
Yeah.
which is just every day just trying to figure out what I'm gonna do.
I love it, man. Well, I'm glad you had that just that presence early on. You just knew this is what you want to do, and that's cool. The world's better for it. Where again, I know you have serious stuff, but you've given us many, many great laughter is medicine, right? So you've done that for years for us, man, and I'm glad that you just knew all along. Maybe it was in your DNA or something in your blood, to entertain. So
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I think you see your parents do it and you're like, oh, that's the family business, you know? So
I got you.
you kind of dig in.
Okay, I got you. I'm thinking about again of all the things I've watched. I'm again not to sound super fan and go awkward, but we pretty much watch everything you've done.
No, it
And
rules.
but my personal favorite, obviously, I still to this day rerun after rerun. I watch Happy Ending 3 or 4 times through a year. I'm curious though, of maybe all the shows that you've done. Maybe it's live, your comedy specials. Maybe it was a more serious role. Was there maybe one? I guess I call it gig. Is there one that's like been your favorite so far? Maybe working with someone or a producer, an actor. I know they're all great, but is there like a favorite moment so far for you, or is that maybe too hard to tell?
I don't think that I would. I don't think I have a favorite moment because each moment is so different, and obviously there's some jobs or some uh, things that feel better than others, but each moment is so uh big to me and special,
Yeah,
even the little ones. So I don't know, like being on Conan O'Brien is like a highlight for me. Um
yeah, it was a
you
good
know,
interview.
yeah, there were a couple of them. Uh and like stuff like that is like probably pretty high up there for me.
I got you.
Um but no, I'm sorry if it's a boring answer, but
No, it's good.
I even enjoy my failures. I think that like I'm very lucky to have been around for a while, and not all of that has been through success. So I feel like I have a special place that I like even the things that I've done that maybe weren't received.
I see what you're saying. That's a good. I love that answer, man. It really is. I appreciate that honesty. With Wes, we still coach in Kansas. I told you we do a lot of working with teams and all that, and we say, hey, maybe if there's a failure here, but a big home run there, right? So I love it that you're honest about that. That your successes and maybe not so successes, you still find the joy in that. It's really cool. So I appreciate that. Obviously you have a blend, man. When I try to pinpoint, I really mean it when I say this. There's not really a comedian that I've ever seen that has that style that you do. You bring so many genres together. Your brand, you got a mix of dry humor, you got a little bit of slapstick. I can't really put a finger on it. I'm curious though, is there again, this is probably going to sound like a loaded question. Is there maybe one or two comedians that you just like, or maybe some of your favorites that you look at for inspiration at times?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think like everybody has their favorites, you
Yeah,
know. I think, I think my Jewishness was a big part of my upbringing. And so people like Adam Sandler, Billy Crystal, Sarah Silverman,
yeah,
Mel Brooks, people like that, they're kind of your first, like it's like a gateway into comedy because it's like, look, these are people like you, and maybe you could do that. So like, I still look to Sarah and to Adam, especially as like two of like my pillars of
yeah,
inspiration. But Daniel Wayne's Senior and
yeah,
Keenan Ivory and Marlon and Jim Carrey.
yeah,
Those guys are so important to me. That show is so uh, singular and changed how I looked at like, oh, you can be so silly um, and so smart at the same time. And
yeah,
then as I got old, and then as my job changed and I became like an actor, I started to look at like Gene Wilder and Steve Martin and and John Candy and uh, people who could make you cry, make you laugh. I think that's the real
inspirational. Yeah,
like early Jeff Foxworthy. I
yeah.
really loved. Um,
Too many to
I
name,
was
man.
too many names. I was a product of premium blend on Comedy Central and everybody's specials, and I've seen everybody 1,000 times, and I think that's part of it. You have to be obsessive, and I was obsessed.
Oh yeah. Again, like I can't say enough. All the better for it, man. You taking all these blends and the now. It's neat to see. Like I told you, I remember watching you guys early on. Your cast, man. I go back a lot to Happy Endings, but what a cast! You guys, all great comedians. There's six great comedians in and of itself, and now passing you on to my kids. And it's funny because she knows you for Happy, and she goes, "That's the Sonic the Hedgehog guy." That's what she calls you. It's funny, because I got
Yeah,
12 year
no,
olds and
that's what my
stuff.
kids call me.
So
That's
it's cool,
great. I love
so
it. I
everybody
love
has
it.
a little different thing they know you for, and like my wife knows you for the stand-up stuff, right? So it's just funny, like everyone
Mhm.
has a little different thing of what they know you for. But man, speaking of that, what's next for you? A lot of comedians, I've seen a lot of some of your one takes and all that. With the upcoming tour that you're doing, you're about what, halfway through it, you say? Or
I think I'm halfway through, but I also my wife is a travel agent and she owns a travel agency and she's big shot and she did my tour. And so it's just again another thing that I don't know the answer to without my wife.
understood, man. Yeah. But
Horrible place to be, you know.
so it's a no, hey man, you live each day to the fullest, right? And sometimes it's also, I think there's too much pressure on having to micromanage our day, and that can be stressful. So I like that,
Yes, I've
I get
certainly given over the micromanaging part of my life to other people.
it.
Yes,
So
I thought today was yesterday for a little, but then I realized it wasn't.
I love it,
Because
man. Well,
tomorrow I
yeah,
have something to do.
good. Well, hey, I hopefully maybe if there's any live albums you put out from the tour, let us know, man. I know that's a big thing. You plan on doing any of
Oh
that, or
yeah, I would love to do that. I mean, I think the show is so fun and it changes every night and it's different every night. And so I think it's been like a true it's like a reinvigorated me a lot in my career in writing and stuff. So I think it's now just about how do I land that plane in a movie so that everyone gets to see it what it was
Yeah.
like on stage, you know.
Yeah, and I can't help but notice again, we do music and sports as well. I've watched a couple of your live takes. You're a heck of a guitarist too, man. So you got a whole nother skill set. So
Yeah, I've been playing guitar. I was in bands my whole life when I was a kid, and then I kind of gave it up when I started acting. Yeah, again, like I found myself with a lot of time recently, and I've been writing a lot. And I think one of the things that I'm really interested in lately is doing stuff that makes me feel
yeah,
good.
yeah,
And the fun thing of this show is that I get to play music for a little bit,
good, man.
and yeah, it's
Well,
fun.
I think it's the genuine part of you that's cool, and people flock to that. And what I love about as digital ages increase and all that, some of our musician buddies talk a lot. So now you don't have to like go appeal to like a big record label or things like that. You can put out what you want, and people are going to follow you. There's a following for everything these days. So I can't wait. Maybe we'll hear some jams out of you pretty soon. That'd be kind of cool, a little EP or something. So,
Yeah, I mean, it started off as just cover songs, and it has
yeah,
evolved into originals and other things. And yeah, I would say there's an album on the horizon. I just have to. It's still very early, and
I
and I
got you.
don't and I don't I don't. It's a very tricky thing. Like I'm not looking to do it like the Bacon Brothers or something, or like Dog Star. Like I'm not looking to change my career.
I'm with you. Well, man, whenever that day comes, let me know. Of course, we'll showcase it for you in the future. We'll look out
For
for
sure. Well,
that.
if you make it up to Texas, you'll have to play a song.
Oh yeah, yeah, I can, man. We got a few originals, back in the day, as you said, with bands. Before I kind of settled down a little bit, me and my boys, we had our couple albums, and we go back and listen to it now. We're like, let's keep that private. Let's make some new stuff because that's not our best work. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, your
well,
sound
man,
has evolved.
yeah, we've evolved a little bit. So there's a segment I promise you, Adam, and all the media that you've done. Dana and I have what we call a benchmark segment called Rapid Fire. Now we do a lot of fan participation, and our fans always give us questions before the episode of what we would like to ask the guests. Now these are all PG, but we're going to make it real weird. It's fun. Okay, so
Great.
imagine that we can go back in time, past or present, and you could just travel. So any maybe celebrities that are passed away, they're alive all of a sudden for this segment. Okay, check this out. They're making a remake of Homeward Bound. The classic
The Paul
1992
Simon song?
the movie. Remember
No,
the
no, the
Homeward
movie with
Bound?
the dogs.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Got it.
So we're gonna go back into the '90s, and again, I love all these entertainers. So all of these people, it would be hard for me to pick. So it's just more about personality question, right? So you get to somehow be a part of the remake of Homeward Bound. We're back in the '90s, this weird metaverse, right? And your co dog, if you will, or voice actor, both love him. You can go with Robin Williams or Rodney Dangerfield as your co dog voice actor. Who you going with?
I'll go with Rodney.
Got
I
you.
love
Okay.
Robin. Robin's my number one. But I just feel like it would be harder to kind of work with Robin in that situation. I feel like Rodney would kind of give you the good go home.
Got you.
I get
I
no
love it.
respect, and then he's out of here.
I got you. So this is a battle of the atoms. Again, both of these iconics. Obviously, I know your love and respect like us for Adam Sandler. They ask you. They're doing a lot of celebrity questions. Maybe it's off hours or something. Whatever. They say, hey, we'd like you to do a celebrity arm wrestling match with one of these two Adams, and you get to pick your opponent. You can go with the
Is
classic.
my goal to win? Is my goal to win?
No, you
Or
can just be in it.
no, it's just
Yeah,
for
just to
fun.
do it. Yeah, just for fun. So your two choices are obviously the legendary Adam Sandler or the original Batman himself, Adam West, that you got to arm wrestle. Which one are you going with?
I'd like to think that I would choose Adam Sandler just because I would want to be with him, but I think my ego would let me risk losing, so I would choose Adam West.
Let's go. Okay, got you. Okay, two more, man. I love it. You're doing great, man. I love this. This is our kind of our benchmark. Last two, man. So you're also this is a not an eating contest. You're called up to actually be another comment. They love you for the commentary for some reason on this one. So you get to pick your co-host to do a celebrity poker commentary. You know, World Series of Poker, right? And you're judging it. You're not playing. You're watching. And both of these guys, I love both of these entertainers. And your co-live color commentary can be either Kevin Hart or Dave Chappelle. Who you going with?
No.
Got you. Got it.
Yeah.
Got you. Last one, man. Bringing it home. So this guy, he's a tough guy. He's also known for, I think, a highly underrated comedian over the years. They call you up and say, hey, we're going back to the 90s are hot right now in this segment. They say, hey, we'd like you to go back and be a part of one of these two franchises with Joe Pesci. You can actually be his Marv in Home Alone. You can be Marv, go back in time, or you can be a part of My Cousin Vinny with him. Would you like to be a part of Home Alone or My Cousin Vinny?
Home Alone. I mean, I love My Cousin Vinny, but there's not really another great male part. You know, Marv is a classic.
Let's go. Got you.
Yeah, I would do that.
Got you. The only one I had wrong actually was Rodney. So good. I'm 3 for 4, man. Love it. So thank you for that segment, man. It's a little something we do call rapid fire. Just kind of personality, pick your brain, man. I appreciate you being a good sport there, man.
It was great. So, thank you for having me.
Yep. Last segment, man, because I know you're a busy man. The last segment we called open mic, and what this is about. The reason we started doing what we do, whether it's athletes or musicians or entertainers, inspiring, right? You got up the courage one day to kind of chase your dreams. Is there maybe a message to maybe your beginning self or those kids that want to be you one day that you could pass on? Maybe a word of advice, if you will, you know?
That I would really ever like dare to dispense, just because, like, what does that do for you? You know, people who give advice, they don't know the specifics of every situation. So it usually comes across condescending because it's like someone say like, don't give up. And they're like, oh yeah, well, I don't have a situation where I can afford to do this. You know, so it's like your privilege has let you give up. So I would never like be so crass or naive to say like, here's some advice from someone who's made it. But what I would say is that there is no right way to do it. There's no, there's no
no set path,
correct path. Yeah, everybody who has gotten there took a circuitous route. They all arrived where they are at different times, at different ages, different skill sets. And it has nothing to do with your soul or your drive. Or your talent, you know? So the one thing I would say, I guess, is like, if you really love what you're doing, then as long as you keep finding a way to do it, something will happen.
Stay with it. I love it, man. I've heard it, and it's refreshing, man, because we have all age groups, right? We've got from younger to middle age and so forth, and it's nice to kind of hear that. I've actually probably never heard a take like that because again, known for your comedy, but that's a lot. There's a lot of wisdom in that. Maybe everyone's not going to hit strike gold at the same time. Maybe someone who's young, it might be a little bit later on in life, right? That's fascinating to hear, man. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you learn that just from working in this industry. You know, like you age means nothing, skill means nothing, experience means nothing. It's just about something else, which is kind of undescribable. So if you're going into a career like that, you really have to make sure that you're doing it because you love doing it and the result doesn't matter. I think that that's something that's like I think I would, I mean, I feel like I was blessed to know that.
That's good. I think you're spot on, man. Some people go into it for their own reasons. Like we talk about maybe with the athletes or the musicians, they're going into this avenue chasing maybe fame instead of doing it because they love it. And then the natural, I think that's why, in my opinion, one of the reasons why you've been so successful, because you have been very successful, but you do it because you want to, not because you're like chasing a number or a stat. Like people flock to you because you're original. And I think that's why. So
I hope so. And I'm hoping that will one day happen.
Good, man. Well, Matt, man, I can't say enough, man. Thank you, Adam. I know it's a bucket list. My bucket list over time keeps getting bigger because as we do this, and again, people like yourself that have inspired me, I can't tell you, man, how much an honor it is to catch up with you. I hope to see you in Texas. We're going to do everything we can to get there. But you just
Yeah, please,
you got some.
and if you do, make sure you tell me so that you don't have to pay for tickets or anything.
Oh man, I love that. Well, like I said, we're big supporters, and we continue to cheer you on, man. Everything you do, you've never made a bad thing yet, so I don't think you ever will. So, from a fanboy here in Kansas and the show worldwide, I appreciate you greatly, man. So
Thank
hope
you.
let it be known first to many. Please make it a point if you'd like to come back in sometime. We'll make it happen. So much love.
Anytime,
Thanks.
anytime.
Thank you for the honor, man, and we'll be in touch. And you have a great rest of your week. Okay, appreciate you, brother.
Okay, thanks, Josh.
Have a great day, man. So, guys, that's as Adam drops off, that's one of the bucket list items that I'll never be able to. Wow, I'm just literally speechless. I love Adam Pally. Like he's a genius, great writer, great actor, genuine guy. Like there's not a more genuine person in my opinion that you're going to meet. Just humble as can be, very successful, has done a lot of great things, but so successful. So don't let his kindness fool you. He's awesome. So anyway, I could ramble on for days about how much we love Adam Pally. If you haven't, it's on Hulu still. Going strong. It's a great TV show called Happy Endings. It's family friendly. It is very, very funny. It's about a group of six people, six best friends that live in Chicago. I don't want to compare, but maybe like a more a modern day Friends, if you will, and just some of the most genius writing you'll ever see. Adam, of course, was in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Of course, was a part of Iron Man 3, and his list goes on and on and on. Just a great guy. So, Adam, thank you for everything, man. I appreciate you so much. From the bottom of our hearts, and the Dane and Josh show, that was another bucket list checked off for us that I I'm speechless. So we got one more tonight. We've got Dylan the Mindless Hulk stopping by from the UFC, and that'll round out our week. So, on behalf of Dane and Josh and everyone out there listening worldwide, don't forget that we love you. And as Dane would say, thank you for listening.